Howdy, and welcome back to the Dice Cast. We've got a matchup that we had a few weeks ago, but a very different wrinkle on it this week. So we're going to have Idoneth versus Nighthaunt, but different sub-factions on both sides, and very different armies on both sides, and a different Idoneth player this time around. So I'm joined tonight for the first time on the channel, Xander.
Hey, yeah, really excited to be here. I just moved here recently, joined the Dice Cast community. It's been super welcoming. Played a lot of games with my Deepkin. Loving how the book works in 3rd edition, and this will only be my second game with the new General's Handbook, so excited to see how they do.
Big changes for it. I've only gotten a few games in for this General's Handbook, and it's still very new and very different and exciting and still feeling things out. So let's get into the list.
Awesome.
So tonight I'm running Grieving Legion for the first time. This is one of the sub-factions that I've been excited about since the book came out, but I just haven't gotten around to playing it. It's recently had some success. Ronia took a Grieving Legions list and won Worlds with it, so it's got some real gas, and I think it's got some real potential. One of the things it doesn't have is a lot of the battle line options that the other sub-factions have, so you've got to bring some of the other battle line options that are core to the book, but I still think they can be really good. So tonight I've got a Guardian of Souls as my general. He's got the Arcane Tome, Master of Magic, and the Shade Mist spell. I've got 2 Cruel Gas Crusaders. One of them's got the Light Shard of the Harvest Moon for the bonus attacks. And I've got Lady O as the mainstay in the army. She's got Seal of Shyish. Those 2 casters have the 2 endless spells, the Cogs and the Purple Sun, both of which are awesome, obviously, in this General's Handbook. I've got 20 Chain Rasps and 10 Chain Rasps, and then 2 20 blocks of Grimghast Reapers. They're really going to be durable in this sort of build-out with the double Cruel Gas. Hopefully I'll be able to tarpit things and prevent those retreats. I've also got 3 Spirit Hosts to keep my heroes alive. It's 1995 points, bunch of battalions here. I've got a Warlord for the extra artifact. I've got Bounty Hunters on the Grimghast, and I've got Expert Conquerors on the Chain Rasps.
Alright, so I am running a Nautilar list. I found them to be really good with the Leviathan. However, it's not going to help me against Nighthaunt because the extra Rend won't do anything. So we'll see how that pans out. My general is the Akalian King, the traditional Slap King with Unstoppable Fury to get those extra attacks in high tide. However, he doesn't have the Arcane Tome of Flaming Weapon. He has Armor of the Sithai, which is going to help me against the Nighthaunt's extra attacks when they roll 6s to hit. Then I have the Eidolon of Mathlan, Aspect of the Sea, who's the big caster. He's going to be trying to cast a Purple Sun of Shyish, and hopefully he's going to be unbinding and dispelling all of my opponent's spells. And then I have Lotan, just for a little bit of Asharan rituals and buffing up my Namadi. So my battle line, my Galatian veterans are going to be 20 Namadi Thralls and 10 Namadi Reavers. And then I also have an Akalian Leviathan, and I have allied 5 Tree Remnants and 3 more Sagat to run along with the King, hopefully kill stuff on the charge, and all of that is going to be in a battalion for 1 year.
Tonight we're going to be playing Nidus Paths from the new General's Handbook, and this is a battle plan that's really got a lot of people talking. It's a very interesting sort of situation because there's teleporters built into the battle plan. So this is standard scoring, hold 1, hold 2, hold more. We've got 4 objectives on the field, but then there's a path between opposite corners. So from your deployment corner to the opposite corner, you can teleport on your turn. And then likewise, from the 2 neutral corners, you can teleport back and forth on your turn. So it adds a different wrinkle, and even armies that don't normally have a teleport, you start to have to think about it.
So I've set up my Gloomtide Shipwreck to protect my Namadi. I've put my Reavers inside it because it can garrison a unit of up to 10. And I've got my Namadi Thralls in front of it so that they're going to keep any enemies, hopefully at least 3 away, so they won't shut off the ward that my Gloomtide Shipwreck is giving to my Namadi. I've got Lotan right behind the Thralls there, hiding out of the way of any enemies. I've got my King tucked away with his Morsar Guard right at the back, because he's got huge range, especially in turn 2, so he can pretty much go anywhere he wants. And then I've got my Eidolon fairly close. I want to keep that bravery bubble over everything. And I also want him to get up the board a little way. I can be a little aggressive with him with his 5-up board, and I want to get Purple Sun up as soon as possible to make a difference. And then I've got the Leviathan at the back. I know he's going to be a big target, but with his 15-inch Void Drum bubble, he's still covering all the Namati that he needs to. And the Tree Revenants are right at the back, blocking off the Nidus path so that my opponent can't come through and take my back objective.
Since Xander really beat me soundly on drops, so something like 1 to 10, I really had to be aware that he might be coming in on turn 1, being able to fight first with the Achillean King and all the things that can do. So I needed to either set up way back so that he couldn't threaten me, or be in a position so that I could absorb that hit. And I mostly chose the latter. With his 14-inch movement, I felt that if I deployed all the way back, I was just going to be too out of position. So I accept that he may come in on the top of turn 1, but it's going to be coming into things that I can absorb that shock on with the Cruel Gas into position. I set up all my bubbles at my hero castle with the Spirit Host there, and I just kind of set back in a position where I've got Grimghast that could threaten either flank or go for either objective. Good luck, Xander.
Good luck. Have a good game.
So at the start of the game here, I have the option to pull some things off the table, but I'm going to opt not to. I'm going to leave things on the table where they are because I do value those screens and those bodies early on here. And while Xander does have some pretty effective shooting, I think with the Spirit Host and the castle I've got up, if he does go first, I can be in a position to handle that. If he gives me first, I want to have those casters on the table.
So I have priority, and I'm going to give you first turn.
Okay, sounds good. So we'll have Nighthaunt top of 1. I'll get 2 command points to your 3.
So since your whole army is Galatian veterans, I'm going to set the objective in my territory, which my Leviathan is controlling, as the Proving Ground.
Sure.
So I have my choice of Isharan Ritual at the start of the first hero phase of the game. The only ones really to speak of are the first Isharan Ritual, which is for the first round, which is going to make me immune to shooting outside of 12. Obviously not a consideration against this Nighthaunt army, so I'm not going to pick that one. The round 2 one is going to give me my entire army +1 run and +1 charge. And I really like that one because that's going to give me a little bit of a movement boost and allow me to go to some surprising places when combined with the run and charge army-wide on turn 2. And then the third one, High Tide, is going to give 5 upward to all my Namati. So I'm actually going to pick the round 2 bonus, +1 run and +1 charge.
Sounds good. For my battle tactic this turn, I'm going to take Desecrate Their Lands, and for that I'm going to take this piece of terrain right over here. So I just need to get something over there within 3 inches of it, and I'll manage that one. Hopefully I can accomplish that. For my heroic action, I'm going to get an extra command point with my General, Guardian of Souls, and I got that on a 5.
For my heroic action, I'm going to try and get a command point with my Achillean King, and I got it.
Okay. For my spellcasting here, I'm going to cast first with the Guardian of Souls. He's going to attempt to cast Chronomantic Cogs. Gets that on a 6, and I'll keep the 6.
Okay, I think that's something that I can maybe unbind, so I'm going to try and unbind that with my Eidolon. And I got an 8, so it's unbound.
No cogs this turn. I'll then attempt to cast with Lady Olinder. I'm going to attempt to cast Seal of Shyish. And she gets a 9.
I'm going to let that go.
That's going to go on this big unit of Chain Rasps here. Lady Olinder, with her second cast, is going to attempt to cast Arcane Bolt. And going to get that on a 7.
Okay, going to let that go.
Sure. And then the Guardian of Souls, with his second cast, he's got Mastery Magic still available. He's going to try to cast the Purple Sun. Needs an 8, gets a 5. Going to re-roll that with Mastery Magic. And gets a 7, so that one does not go off. That's it for my casting phase. We can get into movement.
Smart play. You knew I was saving the unbind for the Purple Sun, so you got a free Arcane Bolt off.
Movement phase here, I was very conservative, understanding that I might have a double coming back into me. So I moved over to take the objective and terrain that I designated in my battle tactic, and really just position myself so that Xander's going to have to come to me. I've got a fairly good hold on this side of the board, and ultimately he's he is a very offensive, very fast army, and I don't want to put myself in the middle of the board with that coming in at me.
Yeah, so Nick is playing a little game of keep away here. He obviously doesn't have any shooting to speak of with his Nighthaunt, at least not in range, and he's just sort of spreading out to control as much of the board as possible here.
So I did complete my battle tactic. I hold 1, and I hold 2, and I hold more. So a total of 5 victory points here for Nighthaunt. And we'll go into the bottom of round 1. We'll each get a command point.
So I am going to pick against the odds at the start for my first turn. And that is pick a unit from your starting army on the battlefield. You complete this battle tactic if at the end of the turn any models from that unit are contesting an objective you control, and that objective is not being contested by any Galatian veterans models. So his whole army, apart from the heroes, is Galatian veterans, so I'm going to pick my thralls to be the unit for against the odds. So I'm going to try and get another command point with my king. I did not get it. That's okay.
And I'm going to go for 1 with Lady Olinder, and I got it.
In my hero phase, I am going to bust out the big guns, and let's attempt to cast Purple Sun. So I got an 11.
11 is pretty good. I'm going to attempt to unbind this with my Guardian of Souls, and I will. I'll burn the Actually, I'm going to save the reroll, so I'm just going to let that go off.
I'm going to cast Mystic Shield on the Leviathan. Okay, that's a 6.
Is that on a 5?
Yeah, I'm going to keep that.
Okay. I will attempt to unbind that with the Guardian, and I'm going to block that on an 11.
Yeah, nice.
The Guardian is out of unbinds.
Alright, let's go into the movement phase.
Into the hero phase, Sun moves.
Yep. So after blocking off this avenue here to the side with the Purple Sun, I am sweeping around this flank, taking this objective with the Thralls, backing them up with the Reavers, who can hopefully unleash hell if I get charged. I put the Eidolon at the front because I really want to get his spells off onto something meaningful. I've got the Leviathan tucked in the side there because I know he's a big target, but I also want to get some shots off with him. And the King and the Eels are waiting in the wings until they can unleash their big charges. And then I teleported using waypipes the Tree Revenants over to snag that third objective. Alright,
Alright, into shooting, yeah.
Yeah. So he has a 12-inch range little scepter blast that's pretty bad. So it's D3 attacks, 3s and 3s.
This is the Eidolon?
Yes.
Where are these going?
So the Eidolon is going to shoot his scepter into the chain rasps, and
Okay.
he does D3 attacks. He does 1 attack, and he misses with it. So I'm going to use the Reavers to put 20 shots into the chain rasps.
Okay.
So I'm hitting on 3s. Not bad. Wounding on 3s. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 hits. And Ren doesn't matter because I'm playing against Nighthaunt.
Yeah, 9 of them. They've got a 5-up, and then they've got their 5-up ward up from the Seal of Shyish. So 5s and 5s. Gonna make 2 of those. And then gonna make 3 more. So gonna take a total of 4.
Alright. And I'm going to shoot the Acalian Leviathan into the Krulgas Cruciator.
Which one here? This one?
This one, I think, is the only one that I can see.
Alright, you'll be -1 to hit because of the lookout, sir.
Okay, so I'm going to do all-out attack to negate that -1 to hit. So I'm hitting on 3s.
I'm going to discorporate here as well.
Okay. Discorporate. Ooh, not so great. So 2 hits.
Okay. He's got his 4-ups.
Yep.
And makes both of those.
Nice. I think that is it for me.
No charges?
I don't think I'll be charging.
Alright. How do you do on scoring?
Held 1, held 2, held more, battle tactic.
I do have a battle shock to worry about here. The chain rats are only bravery 8, but I am going to spend one of my command points there to just auto pass that. And so you got a total of 5 points there. 5 at the end of round 1 here, and this feels like a big priority roll here.
Sure does. Shall we do it at the same time?
Let's. I got a 4 to your 2.
There it is.
And with where we're at in the game here, it feels a little bit early to be pushing hard, but I think I am going to go ahead and take the turn here.
Well, Nick has so many Galatian veterans that I don't see much use in designating any of the other 3 objectives as proving grounds, so I'm going to say there is no proving ground this turn.
Sounds good. So for my battle tactic this turn, I'm going to take against the odds, and I'm going to designate my unit of 10 chain rasps back here on this back objective. They need to be contesting that objective with no enemy veterans on it. Hopefully that'll be accomplishable this turn. Then for my heroic action, I'm going to get an extra command point with Lady Olinder on a 4-up, and I do. Also at the start of the hero phase, before we step out of this portion, I'm going to try to get rid of the purple sun, and I'm going to use the Guardian of Souls to do this.
Oh.
Needed 9 on dice, and failed. Going to re-roll that with Master of Magic, and failed again, so it's still out there.
And I'm going to use heroic leadership on my Eidolon. I did not get it.
Okay. Into casting, then, the Guardian of Souls is going to attempt to cast Cogs. And getting that on a 7.
Okay, I'm going to try to unbind the Chronomantic Cogs. And I did with a 10.
Locked it, no Cogs here. Lady Olinder is then going to attempt to cast her War Scroll spell on the Eidolon. This is -1 to hit and +1 for my units to hit the Eidolon. And getting that on a 10.
Ooh. I'm going to let that one go through.
Okay. And then the big one, Lady Olinder is going to attempt to cast the Purple Sun. Needed 8 on dice. Got a 9.
And I'm going to try and unbind that. I need a 10. And I can re-roll. I got a 10.
You got a 10. No Purple Sun here. Well, still 1 Purple Sun on the board. No Purple Sun on my side. Speaking of which, your Purple Sun gets to move.
Alright, so he's moved. Alright, so I'm going to roll for the Purple Sun on the are they Grimghast Reapers?
Grimghast Reapers,
Grimghast Reapers.
Nope.
No. I'm going to roll Purple Sun for Lady Linda.
She's fine.
She's okay. And finally, for the Krulgas Cruciator.
Oh,
hey,
he's just slain. He's done.
Outright gone.
Nothing I can do about that.
Wow, that's the power of the Purple Sun.
I guess. Very nice. And that is my Krulgas that has the light shard of the Harvest Moon, so that artifact is done. We'll get into movement.
Yeah, I am actually going to redeploy. And it's a 3.
Okay.
Just as prophecy.
Make that a 6-inch charge. So my movement phase here, I got a little bit more aggressive. I pushed up my Grimghast on both flanks, and I brought my Chain Rats in there, Expert Conquerors, so they're just going to be able to get onto that objective and kind of swarm it and take it, counting as a ton of bodies there. I'm uncertain about how much damage I'll be able to push through with some things. It would have been nice to get the Purple Sun out and have it affecting some extra rend out there, but it is what it is, and we'll roll with this. And really, the Grieving Legion is about tying up opponents' units and holding them in place and beating them, and so I need to start employing those tactics, I think. So we'll get into shooting then. Lady Olinder at the start of the shooting phase is going to lift her veil at the turtle, at the Leviathan, and how this works is on a 2-up, it'll do that number of mortal wounds, so anything but a 1, it'll be mortal wounds, and that is going to be 2 mortal wounds into the turtle. The Cruel Gas is going to then do his shooting, and going to put these into the turtle as well. These are 3s and 3s.
Nice spin.
3 hits. And 2 at -2.
Alright, so he has not bracketed yet, so he's still got to save a 2, so the Rend 2 is going to be saving on 4s. And I rolled out of the dice tray, but
Saved them both.
everything's fine.
That's it for my shooting. We can then get into charges. I'm going to attempt the charge first with the big unit of Grimghast going into the tree revs. They need a 6, and they got a 4 on dice. I'm going to go ahead and spend a command point to reroll that. And I got a 7 there.
Oh boy, things are not looking good for our tree revenant heroes. There's a lot of angry ghosts coming at them.
Wave of Terror, when that unit comes in, is going to be a -1 to hit on the tree revs.
Okay.
Next up, I'm going to attempt to charge with the big block of Grimghast here. They're coming in, and got a 5 on them. That probably doesn't make it.
That doesn't get them in. Wow.
And I've already re-rolled this phase, so they're not going to be able to make it.
Wow, your dice rolls have not... luck has deserted you tonight.
And then with the Grimghast failing to get in, I'm going to decline to make the hero charges here. So the rest of this is going to stay out, and we'll just roll into the combat phase with 1 combat to have. And that's going to be the Grimghast over here. I'll activate with them first.
Great. So I'm going to use Martial Memories on the Tree Revenants to do all-out defense for free on them.
Sure. Alright, so since that is a unit of 5 or more models, I'm going to get +1 attacks on the Grimghast. They're going to put all their attacks in. I'm going to start with the Bell. This is 3 attacks on 4s and 3s. And that's going to be 3 hits. 1 was a 6, so that auto wounds. And so it's 3 wounds at -1.
Okay, so the all-out defense cancels out the -1, so they're saving on 5s. No saves.
And these are each D3 +1 damage because of the bounty hunters.
Oh boy.
So we got 4, 7, 9 damage.
Yeah, so they only have 10 wounds, so that's going to bring them all the way down. And that was just the first guy.
And then I've got 42 scythe attacks.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to do 21 and then 21, so hitting on 4s. That's going to be 4 auto wounds.
I see you brought extra dice.
And then 3 per wound. So that is going to be a total of, what do we got there? 11 so far at -1.
Yeah, so it's statistically pretty unlikely that this guy... I'm just going to roll a handful of dice. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
we're taking 1 wound in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's going to be combat phase. I did wipe those off, but obviously the rest of the turn could have gone a lot better for me there. Didn't get anything else in. The Purple Sun was able to take off my Cruel Gas, so I feel like I lost. I did lose more on my turn than you lost on my turn. So overall, just an okay turn, but I did manage to hold 3 objectives: hold 1, hold 2, hold more. Consolidated my castle back into the middle of the board, so I feel okay about that. But obviously, the swing back here is going to be really big, and that purple sun is just going to be a problem for me. So we've got we've got a total of 5 points scored for me.
Well, maxing out points every turn so far.
We'll see if that trend continues. So we've got bottom of 2 then, Idoneth.
This could be very nice if I get the double here. Okay, so I'm going to use Finest Hour on the Kalian King.
Okay.
This turn. So I like to use a big token for that, because it's a big deal. And then I'm going to do an eye for an eye. You complete this battle tactic if 1 or more friendly units were destroyed in the previous turn, which they were, and 1 or more enemy units are destroyed this turn.
Sure.
Which I think I can probably achieve.
I would think that's pretty manageable. I will attempt to get an extra command point with Lady Olinda, and I do. Been pretty successful with that particular roll. And then I'm going to attempt to remove the Purple Sun, dispel the Purple Sun with my Guardian of Souls. And failed it on a 7, re-rolling with Mastery of Magic, failed it on a 6, so it is sticking around.
Wow, that Purple Sun does not want to die. So, first of all, I'm going to cast Cloying Sea Mist on the Leviathan to heal up the turtle. Its casting value of 6, and I got a 7.
Okay, I'll attempt to unbind that with Lady Olinda. And tied it, so it goes off.
Okay. And that's going to heal D3. Heals 2, which is what I had on there. So the turtle is back to full health, or the Kalian Leviathan, sorry. Everyone just calls him the turtle. And then I'm going to cast Mystic Shield on the Kalian Leviathan. And I got it with a 6. I'm actually going to use my reroll to try and get a little bit higher with that. I got a 6 again.
Okay, I'll go ahead and try to unbind that as well, and block that with a 9.
Okay, that's fine. It's got a pretty tough shell, as it is. Okay, so now, here's the fun part. We're going to move the Purple Sun. Could you move it to hit all 3 of your, all 5 of your units there? So let's roll for the Cruel Gas Cruciator. He's gone.
Alright, both Cruel Gas gone.
Wow. Let's roll for the Spirit Hosts.
They're fine.
Let's roll for Lady Olinda.
She's fine.
She's okay. The big lady herself. And finally, let's roll for the Blade Ghasts.
The Grimghasts.
Grimghasts, I'm sorry.
And then the Guardian of Souls as well.
And then finally, the Guardian of Souls.
He's fine. So just both Cruel Gas, just picking those out.
Hey, the Purple Sun is very, very good for 70 points. Extremely good when coupled with the Eidolon of the Sea, because it's easy to get that 8 casting off, and yeah.
Real good. Yeah.
Real good. Just real good. Alright, so going into the movement phase. Yeah, so in my movement phase, I'm setting up for a lot of different charges, and this is Flood Tide, I believe, round 2, which means that my whole army can run and then either shoot or charge. So I can sort of get to where I want to go. This Chaos Dreadhold in the middle is kind of cramping my style a little bit, but I mostly have everything set up for the charges that I want to do. Okay, so let's do some shooting. We're going to do Reavers into the Grimghast.
Into the Grimghast?
Into the Grimghast.
I'm going to go ahead and discorporate them with Lady Olinder's free command point.
So I'm doing 20 shots, hitting on 2s because of the Leviathan's Void Drum. And wounding on 3s. Wish I had my Triumph here so I could wound on 2s, but that's okay. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 hits.
Alright, so 11 4-ups. Pretty good there overall. And then I've got the 5-up wards from Discorporate. And going to make one more of those, so I'm going to lose 4 Grimghasts.
Alright, not too bad. These Nighthaunt are surprisingly tough for ghosts. The Acalian Leviathan is going to go into the Grimghast as well. And he's going to be using all-out attack.
Sounds good. Lady Olinder, because that command point was issued to the turtle within 12 inches, has a 5-up chance to ignore it.
Oh,
but yeah, it goes off, so the turtle gets the all-out attack.
Okay, sorry, go ahead. So he's going to be hitting on 2s. Okay. And wounding on 3s with these harpoon shots. Pretty good. So that's 6 hits, and each of those is going to be D3 damage.
Sounds good. Got 6 4-ups. And going to make 2 of those, so 4 go through at D3 each.
Oh, that's not great. So only 5.
5-ups from the Discorporate. Gonna pass 1 more of those, 4 more dead Grimghasts. Definitely wearing that unit down.
And finally, the Eidolon has a really crappy shooting attack. So that's his number of attacks. It's 2 shots at 3s and 3s.
Also into the Grimghast?
Sorry, yes, also into the Grimghast. Okay, and that is going to be, it actually does 2 damage.
Okay, 4-up save, failed that, and then 2 5-ups. I've made 1, so 1 more dead.
Cool. Alright, we're going to make some charges now. So the Thralls need to get a 3, and they get it. And we're going to charge with the Leviathan. Yep, 10 you say. That's interesting. Okay, I'm going to charge with the Acalian King. That's a 5. He's going to go right there. And I'm going to charge with the Morsar guy. That is also 5, so... they actually get +2 to their charge roll this turn, so it becomes a 7. And that comes from their musician and the Floodtide ritual. Thank you. So on impact, on the charge, my King's Deepmare Horn will go off on a 2+, and it does D3 damage, 1 damage to the
6-up ward, and they'll take 1.
Alright, and for my Monstrous Rampage, I'm going to do Stomp, and against models with a wound characteristic of 1, the Leviathan Stomp does D6 damage. So
sure. So on a 2-up.
Let's make sure that goes off. On a 2-up, it does, so that's going to do D6 damage, 6 damage.
Okay, 6-ups. And you're going to fill those 6 more dead Grimghasts.
Wow.
And do you want to do the biovoltaic class of the eels or no?
Let's do it. So add 1 to the number to the rolls if the number of models in the enemy unit is greater than the models in this unit, which it is. So for every 3 up, it's going to be 1 model. For every 5 up, it's going to be D3 models. Okay, so 3 more mortal wounds.
Yeah, 3 more mortal wounds. 6 ups. Save 1, 2 more dead grim guys.
And I am going to do Lord of Tides to give D3 units strike first. Only one unit gets strike first, so I'm going to actually give it to my Namadi Thralls.
Sure.
So the Namadi Thralls are going to fight first. So I'm going to pile in with as many as I can.
I'll go ahead and spend a command point here to discorporate on the chain rasps. The reality is that I don't think it really matters, but there's not much else I'm going to use this command point on this turn.
I can actually attack with all 20 of them.
Sure.
And because the chain rasps has a wound characteristic of 1, I'm getting +1 attacks. And so that is going to give each of them 3 attacks. So straight off the bat, that's 60 attacks. And then 1 champion, so 61 attacks.
And you're +1 to hit and +1 to wound here.
Absolutely correct. So I'm +1 to hit from the Leviathan's Void Drum and +1 to wound from Lotan. So I'm 2s and 2s
Sure.
to hit with these guys.
Doing these 20 at a time?
Yep, 20 at a time. Sometimes with rolls you get to roll buckets of dice if they don't die. Alright, so it looks like 15 hits.
Okay. 5s and then 5s. And so that is 6 so far, 10 left in the unit.
Okay, I'll do my next 20 attacks. Wow, that's a lot of 1s. Can we appreciate for a second how many 1s that is?
I'd love to see it.
You love to see it.
Vaguely reminiscent to your purple sun.
There it is again, that 1. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. 8 hits.
Alright, 8, 5s, and 5s. And that is going to be 3 more, so 9 dead out of that unit so far.
Out of 20?
Out of 16 at the start of the phase.
16, okay. And let's hope I can finish these off, so this will be the final 20. And I'll take those out and I'll add an extra 1 for the 61. Yep. Wow, this feels like playing Gits again. It's a lot of dice. So that is going to be 16 hits. Let me clear my bucket of dice out of there.
Alright, so we got 16 5s and 5s. And so that is going to be another 7 dead, plus the 9 that died already. That is conveniently exactly the unit dead. Wow. To the wound.
Wow, Discorporate really helped you there, but it was the sheer volume of attacks was so much.
It didn't quite help, because it didn't actually make a difference, but yeah, it was pretty significant in how many attacks I had to go through and do them. And then you've got your first real activation.
Yeah, so I am going to use the Acalian King. So he is not affected by High Tide, so he doesn't get Unstoppable Fury. However, he did charge this turn, so you know, usually he's High Tide. I almost never play him just standard without the flaming weapon. So he's just going to be doing A simple, humble, 3 attacks, hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s, into the Blade Geists. Grimghasts, sorry. I'll get that right eventually. And he missed everything. Alright, now he's going to do... It's okay, it's 3 more weapons. So the Falchion's going to be 3s and 3s.
And his... he only gets bonus attacks on High Tide, right?
That's correct, yes. Unstoppable Fury does not go up. So that's 3 hits. 2 hits, sorry, rather.
2 4-ups. Made both of those.
Okay, so now his Deep Mare is going to attack. It's going to be doing 3 attacks. 3s and 3s. Okay, 3 go through.
3 4-ups. Made all 3 of those.
Wow, very nice saves. And then finally, Lashing Tail. Only 1 goes through.
And a 4 up there. Failed
Okay, that one does 2 damage.
Okay, 2 6s. That is the unit.
Wow. It took the Deep Mare's tail to finally kill...
Again, to the wound. I don't have anything within 3 inches, I believe. Your activation again.
Okay, so looks like the only thing that I can swing with there would be the Scythe Fins on the Leviathan. That's going to be 4 attacks, 2s and 3s. Wow, there's the ones. Okay, so 2 go through.
5 up saves. Made 1 of them.
The one that you did not make is going to do 4 damage.
Okay, 6 ups. And gonna fail all 4 of those. That is 4 dead.
I'm going to hope that I get the double going into 3, and then I can do something else.
So how do you feel about your turn there?
I feel pretty good about that turn.
Yeah.
I think I took out the other Krulgast, which was a linchpin that I knew I would have to go for with the King of the Eels. And once that was gone, I was kind of free to put everything into the Blade guy, the Grimgast.
Yeah.
I'm going to get it right by the end
Eventually.
of this.
One time.
Eventually. Grim. They're very grim. And so yeah, I think that went well. And then taking out the chain rasp as well was just a nice bonus. So
you did way more damage through through every phase of that than I kind of banked on. The Krulgast dying meant that whatever tarpit plans that I had just kind of fell apart. Both of them being gone means that instead of having that bubble of pushing your good attacks down to 2 or 1 damage each, they're still on full strength, so that's definitely going to set me up poorly. But it was definitely a mistake for me to push up as aggressively as I did. It is part of what this army feels like it wants to be doing. It's part of what Grieving Legion wants to do, is get up and start tying things up. But you can't tie things up when you've pulled all your models off the board, obviously. So going to be real rough sledding for me here, and we'll have a priority roll going into 3.
And my victory points for that round.
Oh, yeah.
So I did get...
you don't hold this one, but you do hold your 2.
So hold 1, hold 2, and I completed eye for an eye, so that's going to be 4 points.
Sure. And the reason you don't hold the one with the turtle is because he is outnumbered by those expert conquerors there.
He sure is.
So I do have a 1-point victory point lead, but it sure doesn't feel good. So yeah, priority roll for round 3.
Alright.
And I got a 1 to your 3. You're going to have the choice here.
Alright, so it's pretty clear the choice here. I'm going to take the priority.
And I am going to save you the time here. I've got 1 real unit left on the board. I've got a Linder. If I get the priority there, maybe the Purple Sun bails me out with some things, but you're really just going to clean everything out over here, and I'm going to have Grimghasts run around, not really doing anything, so I'll just concede at this point. Good game, Xander.
Good game.
How do you feel that went? How do you like your list?
I think this went really well. I went for a more balanced list. I always feel I pretty much can't play Deepkin without the Eidolon. I think he's amazing, and if you're going to take Purple Sun, which everyone is right now, he's just incredible value. Re-rolling Unbinds against enemy Purple Suns is amazing. having that guarantee of re-rolling to get your own purple sun off is amazing. I was really lucky that it lasted as long as it did and took out 2 Krulgast Crusaders, which were key to your army working. So that was just pure luck, which you can't really control. But then I think I did the right thing by giving away first turn, by kind of keeping my castle together. Just instead of spreading out, just kind of pushing forward slowly and then going for the big counterpunch. It's how I normally play this army. I think Deepkin, when they spread out, they're incredibly weak and easy to pick off. You just have to wait for the right time and then unleash the counterpunch, and it usually works. Let's say 60% of the time it works.
It felt like my Grimghasts were doing pretty well through your shooting phase there. You got some mean shooting with the Reavers and the Turtle, and I lost something like 7 of them with the Discorporate, which is kind of an acceptable level of losses, right? But then I think you put through something like 10 mortal wounds in the charge phase, and that was just beyond what I could deal with at that point. So you never even really got down to consequential combats there. Obviously, I positioned too aggressively India. I should have held back, continued to play that cagey game that was setting up early, but that always feels a little bit risky into Idoneth because you know that there's going to be that round 3 that comes, and then it's just going to be 2 turns of getting absolutely bashed on with all the fights first. Plus, you got the king, so it always feels a little bit risky to play cagey and play that long game against Idoneth. It felt like there was a pretty good opportunity in the top of 2 there. If I make a couple very reasonable charges, I get in, I maybe take off one of your key pieces, and then I can start doing some work. But, just didn't get there. One of my blocks of Grimghasts, got out of position in some ways, but I felt like they were just going to be a force on that side of the board and hold down those 2 objectives on that side, which I think they probably would have done for a while here in this game even. But
I sort of wondered if you should have maybe just ignored my Tree of Reverence and just come around the other side and box me in. I think that could have been a problem if you managed to get onto my Reavers, or I even thought maybe you would, once I teleported off of the Nidus path here, if you would take the chain rafts and pop up the back and threaten my home objective. But
that was definitely the plan later on, was going to pop the chain rafts over there as you came over onto this corner of the board, but obviously with you just smashing through everything that I had there, that wasn't really a consideration. Turn 2 there, I feel like if I get the purple sun into you and I make a charge, then maybe this shakes out pretty differently. The Reavers get their Unleash Hell, they're going to take off some Grimghasts, but then with the purple sun, if I get a decent charge roll, the Grimghasts are going to probably lift what they go into in exchange, and then we've got more of a fight, right? Then this shakes out pretty differently, but you cannot underestimate the amount of damage that Idoneth can do.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with. Clearly the Grimghasts can put out a scary amount of damage into Galatian veterans, and they're obviously an amazing bounty hunter choice, and so I was worried about them because if you cut out my Namadi, that's the core of my army, and then I'm really I'm at a massive disadvantage. So I was pretty happy with how I protected them, kept them safe, got value out of the Reavers, ended up getting value out of the Thralls. So yeah, and Lotan did his thing too. Just stood at the back and recorded stuff on his ledger.
It felt like if I do make the charge with the Grimghast there, maybe half of them with Pyloons go into the Thralls, the other half into the Eidolon, and probably clean the Eidolon, cripple the Thralls, and then we would have had a great spot there. I would have felt really good about the move to push them forward.
That was a huge turning point, is not being able to reroll that charge here, because I think you
I rerolled over there, which
super unlikely.
Maybe shouldn't have rerolled over there, but it felt really consequential after I pulled myself out of position. It felt really consequential to get that charge, both so that I clean that unit and deny them teleporting everywhere, and so that I get that extra movement on the Grimghast to push toward your objective. But hindsight's 2020, obviously. Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. I almost didn't spend the command point to do the redeploy there, and it only ended up pushing to the 6, but it was enough in the end. So I was this close to thinking, well, why redeploy? It doesn't matter. They're expendable, and then that ended up having the knock-on effect of being massively important over here. So
right.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, if I had saved the reroll here. My reroll over here was a 7. If I had spent the reroll here, I would get a 7, and I make it in, but probably don't have the effect that I want with a short charge like that, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, good game, interesting game. Definitely tells me some of the things that I need to worry about playing this army. Definitely teaches me something about playing this army. I don't think this is the build that I'm going to continue with, but I wanted to give this kind of tarpit Galatian Veterans style a run with Lady Olinder for the recursion, with everything the Grieving Legion can do. But when units are dead, there's no recursion, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm happy with my list, and I just keep coming back to the battle regiment for the 1-drop.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people don't rate it, but for Deepkin, being able to set up that castle and counterpunch is so important, and it, depending on the matchup, giving your opponent first turn or second turn feels very vital for this faction. So I don't think I'll be experimenting with other battalions in this army just yet. We'll see how the meta shakes out for the new General's Handbook, but so far I'm pretty happy with my 1-drop.
And I think 1-drop has been the default answer for every army since the beginning of 2nd edition. There's been very compelling battalion choices through 3rd edition. Hunters of the Heartlands was very compelling. Getting extra artifacts and things like that is very compelling. But the reality is that bounty hunters and expert conquerors are maybe the most compelling choices that we've had to not go a 1-drop, and they still maybe don't win out over just the raw power of being able to dictate that first turn priority. So definitely interesting. Now I've got 2 tournaments in the next 2 weeks with Nighthaunt. I'll be playing a very different style list. It'll be Scarlet Doom, running the Blade Guys, a much more punchy in the mouth sort of list, but every time I play Nighthaunt, it feels completely differently. My early games with Nighthaunt in the new book felt like I was just overestimating everything that I had, and then I had a streak of games where it felt like I could do no wrong. And so it's the reality is somewhere in the middle, and just getting a feel for the army is really interesting.
Yeah, and I think Deepkin similarly are a faction that takes a few games or a lot of games to really get a feel for, and how you want to play them. There's multiple different valid ways to build it. You can go heavy Namadi, you can go eels, theoretically. Haven't seen anyone do it, but I think they're still great and a little underrated.
Justin ran his eel spam on the channel just a few weeks ago.
Yeah. I mean, Ion Rack, eel spam, bounty hunters. Hey, I'd love to see it. I think it would work. So.
Yeah, well, good game. Nice to have you on the channel for the first time, Xander. And nice to have all of you joining us, hanging around until the end, watching me just get greased here through this game. Happy to have you here. Happy to have you sticking around, hanging out for our discussion. And we'd love to have you join our discussion on our Discord. It's linked down below. You're welcome to join us there. And that community keeps growing, keeps developing. There's more and more Age of Sigmar conversation all the time, so we'd love to have you become part of that. And thanks everybody for sticking around and watching this battle report. You're why we do it. So go ahead and like the video and subscribe if you think we're doing a good job. That lets us know that you think so and that we should continue, and we really appreciate it every time.
Yeah,
thanks everybody.
Thanks everyone.